What's up, folks? This is your boy Kaiden Kelly coming at you live with another episode of Kaiden's podcast. I'm gonna mix it up a little bit differently, and I'm not gonna look at the prompt I made, but I'm still gonna talk about white glove carpet cleaning and share a little bit about what we do. At White Glove, we take care of all of your standard cleaning needs like carpet cleaning, tile cleaning, grout cleaning, cement, auto detailing. Um, and then we also go far beyond with flood restoration and mold and emergency cleanings. And like pet urine, pet smells. We do it all here at White Glove, and we want to take care of you with your business. We are in the Davis County area in Utah, and we have been at it since 1885. Wow, how old are you? We've been at it since 1985. Multi-generational. I'm the third generation that's doing this with my dad and my brothers. So give us a call or shoot us a text to get some help with your carpets, with your tile, with pee problems from your pets, with car detailing, whatever. You can text my old man, Robert, at 801-425-4618 to get pricing. Right now, we're running a deal for the holidays, 3 rooms and a hallway for $99, saving you a bunch of money to get your carpets cleaned post-holidays and to get ready for the springtime. So, again, the phone number you can call is 801-425-4618. And now I want to share a little bit about what I want to do with my podcast. I'm almost 10 episodes in. I've got over 20 hours of recorded. I've got almost 20 hours of recording, and I've learned a lot, and I have a lot to learn still, and I've had a great time sharing experiences with the people that have been on here with me, and also sharing my own personal experiences. One thing that I haven't figured out entirely is the feedback. God damn it, I can't get the feedback all the way. No, I think what I want to do with my podcast from here is I want to make it more inclusive for the people that are listening, and show my love and support for you. I want to have people come in, and I want to talk to them face to face and do interviews that way, and share our experiences together, share them over a microphone, and so that people that have these profound experiences are able to share them and get them out, and add value to what I'm trying to do. I think I am still very passionate about building a community of support for LGBT, for post-Mormons, for ex-Mormons, even for active Mormons. I want to build a unity with all of us. I want to show. So as an ex-Mormon, I want to give a platform for other ex-Mormons. I want to show my support for them and in healing. I also have Mormon friends and family that I want to share my love with. So I want to figure out how to bring everybody together and be happy, and to be ourselves around each other without having problems. And at the same time, I want to talk about like my health journey, things that I've learned with my colitis, having been recently diagnosed with my colitis. I want to hear from other people's health journeys, how they've managed their battles, their struggles, and how they are currently going through their battles, or how they have gotten through them. Anyway, the way I prefer to do this is face-to-face interviews, of course, but I realize that it's sometimes impossible. It can be very difficult to pull off, and some people are nervous, or some people want to be anonymous, or I've realized a lot of people want to share their ex-Mormon leaving stories, or they want to find an outlet for themselves, but they don't know how to share it. So I'm gonna promote this idea that I have. I want to give those people a platform still through me, and I think the best way to do that is to, instead of coming into my home and recording with me, anybody that wants can send me an email or a text or a long ass text, or whatever, a book of their experiences, and I will read it over the podcast. I'll share it with people that want to listen, and I'll share it with my own insights or my own opinions, like I do with everybody else, and show. I think that's one of the best ways I could show my support. And like I said, I think there's the one that relates the most to this are people that have left the church and want to talk about it, or at least have addressed me about it, but don't know how to talk about it, or they don't want to be public about it. So if it's beneficial for you to share your experience anonymously, I will be glad to share your story anonymously, because I think everybody, whether are just leaving the church, or they're figuring out how to leave, or they're embracing a new spirituality, or if they're wherever you're at in your faith transition, I would be really happy to share my experience, to share your experience via an email that you've sent to me, and I will read it and I will talk about it. And I think people everywhere can benefit from that. So I will be glad to get in contact with you. You can always reach out to me through Instagram or through Twitter or Facebook, and I can give you links. I can give you my email. I can give you my phone number, or we could we could always collaborate somehow. But get in touch with me, and I would love to make that happen. I'll probably ask some of you that have come to me with showing your support, and ask for help, because I think it's one, it's an excellent way for me to get more content and more community. I think the more the merrier in this case. And if I reach out to you and you don't want to share, I have no problem if you say you're not ready to share, you don't want to, or I just don't want you to get mad at me. I love the support that everyone is already giving me, and I hope that continues. So today I had such an awesome time with my aunt Ashely, Kelly Purdy, and we talk about her. Well, she has a podcast. We talk about her experience with her podcast. She's married to a military man who is what inspired her to get her podcast started, as she tries to unite military spouses and relationships and build a community that way of support. So I'm excited for you to listen to her insights. She's very smart. She's very exciting. And she has a podcast, like I mentioned. It's called the Purdy Girl Podcast. That's Purdy Girl Podcast. And it's on Apple Podcasts. It's on Spotify. Yeah, it is on Spotify. I don't think she's on YouTube, though. But you can find her at those big podcast places. And she would love your support as well. So check her out there, and I'm excited for you to listen to our conversation. And as always, if you are impressed with, or if you have any comments or suggestions on this podcast, feel free to reach out to me, share your comments, share your suggestions. I even if it's negative, I like to listen to you. But if you want to have a conversation, please be polite. I like to talk to polite people. And and then subscribe and rate and review, and tell me what you like or don't like about the show. So thanks again for tuning in. I'm so excited for you to listen to this episode. Up as we go.
That's dangerous.
No,
I like it.
It's exciting. It can be dangerous if it was dangerous the first time when I did it with Hudge, because we didn't know what we were doing. And it was the first time we had ever recorded ourselves and tried to come up with content, and we had zero plan. Mm-hmm. So that was dangerous, but it still turned out fine.
Yeah.
I have a plan. I know we didn't talk much about this beforehand, but I've come up with some generic questions I ask pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
And have I guess you could call it an agenda.
Like a flow.
Yeah, I have a flow. So why don't you you might want to hold it just a little closer.
Like this.
And talk to this, I guess, the fuzzy part.
Up
right
here.
Yes.
Okay.
How does that sound?
Good.
Does that sound better?
Yes. Oh, heck yeah. Much better.
Okay, right on. I think we're dialed. Okay, sorry, I forgot the stands. I forgot okay. For everybody else, I am moving. I'm in the process of moving, and I moved all of my podcast stuff to my new place, and Ashely, my aunt, is here, and I was so stoked to do this, and I moved all of my stuff, and I was in a rush this morning because of carpets. But I did it anyway, and then I forgot the mic stands. So we're holding these probably like 5-pound microphones.
Yeah. Getting our workout in.
Yeah, I feel it in my biceps already. But it is kind of more casual. I can lean back and...
Yeah. I mean, it's casual. This is how I talk to most of my friends.
FaceTime?
So,
yeah. Nice. So yeah, I think we're all dialed in. So Ashely, Kelly, my aunt, is here. I'm so excited to explain to talk about some of the things that I've talked about with other people, to get her input, and also to hear more about you and what you're trying to accomplish with your podcast. Why don't you tell everybody about you and what you're doing?
Kaiden, I'm nervous. My heart is pounding.
Don't.
I know.
Well, what do you want?
Heck?
I can get you whatever you want to help that.
I'm good. So yeah, just explain the podcast or what?
Okay. So what's your name?
Well, I'm Ashely Kelly Purdy. You forgot the last Purdy. I know.
I'm not used to that yet.
Well,
Sorry.
I haven't changed it officially yet, so it's okay. I'll let it slide.
Okay. And how long has it been since? Is it 2 years? Almost 2 years?
A year and a half.
Yeah, coming up. This summer is 2 years.
Fun fact, Kaiden actually played at my wedding, played the guitar, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I played your walkout song, and I can't help. Who wrote that song?
Elvis.
Oh yeah,
Elvis, man, the king.
I heard. I only really know the.
There's so many versions.
The American Idol girl that did it.
Oh, who knows? Yeah. Who cares?
Okay, so Ashely Kelly
your version
Purdy
was the best. But yeah, I'm Ashely Kelly Purdy. I have a podcast too, so that's why this is ultra fun. Because I mean, we're the two Kellys that are podcasters, so we might as well have a podcast together.
Yeah, might as well. You got me excited to do this.
I know, because it's one of those things. It's like, seems like everybody has a podcast, so I'm like, it can't be too hard. I'm gonna figure it out, and then I figured it out, and then you figured it out. I think 2020, everybody's gonna have a podcast.
You said that when I was getting started, and I didn't believe you. And then ever since I've started, I've had so many people reach out saying, "What do I have to do to start a podcast?"
Well, yeah, because it's like everyone listens to them. Well, I think so, anyways. I know I do. I'm addicted to all of them.
Yeah.
But I just figured I might as well start this now because I just moved to Destin. I just moved to Destin, Florida, and I had all the time in the world to do it. So why not, you know?
But you started when you were in Washington. You started all in Florida?
I started it in Florida just in August, but it's been fun. It's like, I don't do interviews yet. So this is my first interview.
So you are a little nervous.
So I'm
you have
totally
every reason
nervous.
to be a little nervous.
But it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm getting used to it.
Is your phone on airplane mode?
Oh, it's on silent.
On silent?
Yeah.
It needs to be on airplane mode.
Oh, whoa.
Because it still gets signals and stuff. And
okay.
My setup is not sophisticated enough to, like, I have this cool box, but this cool box pulls up all the interference.
Okay.
And
we're good. We're good.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry. I know I can't stand the feedback, so I know there's somebody else that probably can't either.
Yeah. No,
sorry.
We're solid.
Please continue.
So I started back in August, and I mostly just focus on, I felt like there was a white space really for military spouses, because I figured if I'm feeling like this, there's got to be other military spouses that feel like this, as far as just feeling like such an outsider. So I married someone that's in the military, obviously, and didn't know anything about the military. And I still don't know a ton about the military, but I felt like there are all these wives that know all the ins and outs, and they've just been in it for such a long time, and they're wearing their husband's rank on their sleeve. And it's like a whole culture. Like, you know how Utah has their own culture and it's like a bubble in a bubble?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Mormon culture is, yeah.
So
Utah's hard.
Imagine that, but with the military.
Yeah.
I felt a lot of similarities in that, I guess. So I didn't want to subscribe to that. And I'm like, I'm still my own person. I'm still doing my own thing. There's got to be other women out there that are like me in that way.
You didn't want to subscribe to the military culture.
The military culture, yeah.
Like military wife culture.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And it's totally a thing. It's totally this like weird culture that it's very judgmental and it's very like they want to put you in a box and yeah, it just
kind of shuts you off from everybody else.
Kinda. And I mean, I get it. There's a lot of good that goes within like the whole community, of course, and there's a lot that I love about it, but there was this just I don't know. There's something missing that I felt just so different. And like, I bet there are other women that feel that want to kind of have our own community where our lives don't totally revolve around our husbands and their career. It's like we have our own stuff and our own, careers going on, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Cool.
I wanted to start a community around that, but it's about the military, but it's not about the military because there's so much that I can't talk about. So it's like,
and a lot that you don't know.
And a lot that I don't know. Yeah.
I know you've mentioned that a lot in your podcast about it can be frustrating not even knowing what your husband is doing with a lot of his time. And
yeah.
I'm sure that's the case for a lot of people. I don't, you are the closest that I have to military in our family now.
I know.
I think you're the only one.
Cause it's like, I didn't know anything about it. And my husband, Bennett, is a lot. He just doesn't, he wants to come home and shut off. He doesn't want to talk about work, which is totally fine. I don't care. But that being said, that means I don't really understand or know a lot of what he does. And that's okay. But that's just kind of our dynamic. So it's interesting when I go to like functions and these women are like, so, what's your husband's rank? And like, just stuff like that. I'm like, can we not talk about our husbands? Like, who are you? Like, why wouldn't you want to get to know me as an individual? Yeah. It's weird. Yeah. It's weird.
So what do you know about Bennett and his job and in his
Nothing.
what he does?
No, I'm just kidding.
Nothing at all. Cool. Completely separate.
No.
Right on.
So right now we're living in Florida and he's doing some time as a ranger instructor at the school down there, which it's temporary. We're only going to be there for a certain amount of time, probably, hopefully for just a year, but you never know. You know what I mean? So it's a interesting lifestyle. Like I have no idea where I'm going to be next year, Yeah. Cause
how long were you in Seattle or in Washington?
In Washington. Yeah. We were there. Well, I was there for 5 years, but B was there for 13 years. So,
right.
And there he was working as a ranger, with the 275 there, which doesn't like, what does that even mean?
Yeah,
right? Like people are listening, like that doesn't mean anything to me. It's just with the Ranger Regiment in Washington.
Is it like a squad or like a platoon that he's with, or that's
yes.
It's like a class?
Oh yeah. So as far as those logistics, he was a part of a platoon. So there's like a squad is within a platoon. Kaiden,
I really don't know anything.
I know. People might be listening like that's not right, but I think that's right.
Okay. But you are 100% right to me because I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Okay. And Rangers, as far as I know, is like the highest class in the Army, right? It's like one of those super special operation divisions.
It's definitely infantry. They definitely are like a specialized unit, but there are so many specialized units that they just all have their own unique, I don't know, like tasks that they need to do and perform when they deploy or whatever. Yeah. Whatever Uncle Sam has them do.
Right. Whatever he asks.
Yeah.
How many times has B been deployed?
I think 12 times. Yeah. Wow. It's a lot. I've known him, I think, for like 5 deployments. So like when we met, it was right before I think his 6th deployment or 7th. So.
How old were you guys when you met?
So I was only 21 and he was 23 or 24.
And he was already 5 deployments deep at 24. Oh, yeah.
He moved up. He dabbled in college for a little bit. He went to Weber and just kind of, I mean, he was working 3 jobs. He wanted to pay for all of it. Didn't want to go into debt. But he felt so frustrated because he's like, I don't know what to freaking do. Like, I'm working my butt off and I'm going to college, but none of this feels right. And he really wanted to get out of Utah. And so he joined the military. He didn't tell anybody. He just came home one day and was like, I joined the Army. And they were like, well, his dad is Air Force, so they were really proud of him. But yeah, so he moved up to Washington when he was like 19.
Wow.
So young, so little. Young. Can you imagine?
Well, I moved to California when I was 18 for 2 years on a completely different journey.
But it's true.
But it is wild.
It's a life. It is a game changer, I think. Yeah. At that age, when you're just like out of your comfort zone, you're starting something totally new, totally different. And you learn so much about yourself, as I'm sure, I mean, you did on your mission.
Yeah.
Of course.
You kind of have to. Or you're
forced
happens.
to.
Yeah. It just, did he go by himself, all on his own?
Oh, yeah.
And no friends?
No.
And did he go and what did he get himself into when he got there? Did he go knowing there were people there? Or why did he go to Washington? Well, I guess I would love to sit down with B2 about this.
We should have had him stay.
I know. He should have just stayed.
He would. I don't know if he would do it. He like, I've asked him a couple times to get on my podcast. He's like, absolutely not.
I know. It's not easy.
But no. So, I mean, he signed up for the Army, and then just the funny thing is he barely even knew about the Ranger Regiment. He didn't know what he wanted to do. He just knew that he needed a challenge, and he knew that he needed to get out of Utah. So it was like, he went to basic training, which you just learn so much. And you learn more. I think you get just more specific on like where you want to go, and what you want to specify in
basic as you're getting started. You learn about all of.
I think it was there that he really learned about the Rangers and was like, hell yeah, that's cool. What I want to do.
That spoke to him more than college did.
Oh, heck yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. And then you've been in Seattle for the last 5 years, and then moved to Florida this year.
Just this year. Over the summer. That was cool though. Driving from Washington down to Florida, doing a cross country road trip.
That's the whole country.
Yeah. So we made a list of everywhere we wanted to stop. We got to see some really cool stuff. Finally got to go to the Grand Canyon, which I've always wanted to go to, obviously.
You've never been to the Grand Canyon?
No, have you?
It's not that far.
No, it's not. And I was always so embarrassed. And I'm like, I've never been to the Grand Canyon when living in Utah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like not going to Yosemite living in Northern California, I think.
Got to go to Lake Tahoe. Crater Lake in Oregon is like phenomenal.
I don't know that one.
It's the coolest. I would say it's almost as breathtaking. It's up there with the Grand Canyon, in my opinion.
Wow.
It's cool.
Wow. Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. How do you like your neck Florida? Of the woods in Florida? Yeah.
I like it. It's super touristy.
Oh, it is? I thought you were outside all the touristy stuff.
No.
Where is it you said you're at?
So Destin.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
You gotta come visit. It's
what is it close to? Orlando?
No.
Miami?
I mean, we're 6 hours from Orlando. Miami is like southern Florida, So Destin is just up on the panhandle. So it's like we live right near the Gulf. So all that water is like warm and aqua blue, and like it's white sandy beaches. So like everyone,
it's a hot spot.
Oh yeah, everyone from Texas comes to vacation there. Everyone from Alabama, everyone.
Yeah, Destin. I've never heard of Destin. I guess I just assumed it was a little part of Florida.
No, I made sure we didn't live in the middle of freaking nowhere. I would die.
Yeah,
I would die.
Yeah,
I can't. I need amenities.
Yeah. It's fun to visit places where nobody lives, and then it's better to live in places where everybody's at, I think. I like this part of Utah being close to Salt Lake, which isn't even the biggest city it's relatively small to all the other major cities in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
But also it's not like even living in Logan where I was 2.5 hours from Salt Lake was annoying.
Yeah.
If I ever wanted to do anything or I don't go shopping, but things like that.
It's a pain.
Or be with people or see people.
Layton's not too bad.
I like Layton.
Like,
Yeah.
and anytime me and B come back here, because we're both obviously from here, we're always just amazed at like the new traffic situations. Everything flows pretty easily, like especially with the traffic in Washington is awful.
It is
awful.
Oh.
And we were just talking about that on the way here. I don't know. It's nice. You can get anywhere in like 15 minutes.
What sucks though is how many people are coming here.
Oh, is that so?
I think well I know they're always right now they're doing a huge thing on I-15 and aren't in this part. They're always doing it somewhere, but now it's right in Layton.
Yeah.
And prices to live anywhere in Utah is out of the roof.
Oh.
Yeah, like I mean
Guess
I want to
we're not
buy a
moving
house.
home
Yeah,
anytime soon.
no. Yeah, you should stay in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to buy a house, but it's too expensive.
That was one of your 2020 goals.
It is. It still is.
Yeah.
It still is, but I gotta just mentally prepare for it.
Yeah.
I guess I'm like stuck in what I expected the housing market to be like, or like my buddy who bought this house that he lives in Ogden.
Mm-hmm.
A couple years ago. It's just a different market. I want to live
Yeah.
closer to here.
Yeah.
Farmington, Kaysville, Bountiful,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just so much more expensive than the further north you go.
Dang.
Yeah.
That sucks.
So that's my problems. I could talk about my problems later. So you're back in town for Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Just till Wednesday.
You got anything else going on? Oh, when you leave?
Christmas Day. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, flights here were nuts. They were kind of bananas, the price.
Oh.
And we kind of waited last minute to get the flights. Anyway, so yeah, Christmas Day we're flying home. But we'll get the Christmas morning and we're excited to get home and do our own Christmas and stuff too. So we're just excited to see everybody.
Yeah, that's not the worst, I guess it could be.
Yeah.
Okay, well, and we get our parties Christmas Eve.
Heck yeah.
With the Kellys, so
you gonna perform?
I'm gonna try. Grandma texted me like 3 days ago, and she said, "Oh, I can't wait to hear your guitar solo." And I haven't even picked up my guitar probably in 6 months.
Oh, really?
So, but this won't air until afterwards, so we'll see how I do tomorrow.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be fine. Didn't you perform though for the Staples side? I saw a video of you playing the guitar. Or where were you?
Night?
Was that last night?
Well, last night we were at family friends, one of my dad's family friends, and they were like, play the guitar.
Yeah.
And
you're good.
I just have a couple songs. But they're not even Christmas songs. They were all just songs that are the easiest to play and that are fun to scream really loud.
Oh.
So I got to figure out a Christmas song. So
you'll figure it out.
Okay.
You're talented.
Thank you. So I want an update on how your podcast is going. You've been doing it since the summertime.
Yeah. So it's cool. It seems like each month I get more and more downloads, which is great. I'm like, try not to look at the numbers too much because it can get to my head a little bit. But I'm like, you know what? As long as I'm growing each month, what more can I ask for, kind of thing.
Are downloads the same thing as listens for you? Like plays?
You know what? I don't know.
Yeah, because you've talked about downloads, but the app or the browser that I use only tracks listens.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what so I figure they're the same thing.
Yeah, so I think they are the same thing.
Okay.
So,
but they're going up for you.
Yeah.
Good.
Which is all I can really ask for. You know what I mean? Because it's not like I have this huge platform. I'm not a celebrity. I'm yet.
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
For sure.
But like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm starting from scratch. So it's kind of like, I just want to see what can happen. And I have fun with it. I can tell you have a ton of fun with it.
Oh, yeah.
And so, hey, if you can do it and somehow monetize, like, why not? And that's my goal for 2020. I haven't made a dime with podcasting, and that's fine because I kind of figured, you got to get the ball rolling and get some downloads and listens and stuff.
Right.
And then you can reach out to sponsors later. But like, truthfully, it's not about that. Mostly it's like, I want to have some kind of impact on other ladies that are listening that might feel super alone, especially in the military with moving around so much. It's like, it can get pretty lonely, man. It's like there are people you can reach out to, but it's like you only connect with certain people. You know what I mean? And forced friendship isn't awesome. Mm-mm. So it's like, if, there's a lady out there that's like just moved and she's trying to make friends and it's just like super lonely. Like, I listen to podcasts all the time. It helps me not feel so lonely. Mm-hmm. So that's why I do it. So I think that's pretty cool.
What are your favorite podcasts to listen to?
So I would say,
you can't say Dave Ramsey because you were featured on his Instagram or anything. That doesn't count.
I'm such a loser. That was like the first one that came.
That was the coolest thing ever, though.
I can't believe it. I'm like, I want him to post it again. Like, that was so much fun.
Did you see a huge change in your listens after that?
Totally. Yeah. Because I had so many people reach out and just be like, how did you pay off $21,000 in 10 months? How? And I would just say, listen to my podcast. Like, cause I talk about it.
Yeah, you do. You get a lot of good advice on it.
Yeah. So, I do enjoy listening to his stuff, which surprises me because he used to really bother me, like, because I started listening to him kind of in a time where I was like, I wasn't open to like hearing people talk about God, which is like really just kind of like my own thing. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, it like bothers me how religious he is. And I know he gets that feedback a lot. But then once I could kind of like take a step back and be like, that's who he is. And that's okay, And plus there's a lot of good information that he has. And so if I could just leave that part of it and just listen to all of the other advice, that's what worked for me.
Yeah. Still take the good out of it. There's
totally.
Still a lot of good out of it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I love his podcast, mostly because I like, sometimes the listeners have this like crazy drama with like surrounding money. I think that's kind of funny.
You like the drama?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like
Nothing
so
wrong
interesting
with that.
to me. And
money
then
drama.
I like Joe Rogan's podcast, but only certain ones. Like, they have to be directed towards, like, he's been doing some podcasts lately with surrounding nutrition that I find really interesting. But then there's, because he has such a broad range of guests.
Everybody.
Yeah.
He does everybody.
So there's some that I'm like, I'm never going to be interested in that subject. So
you pick the subjects you like.
Yeah. So, cause he's so knowledgeable with like nutrition and stuff. And I really like his perspective, and typically like the guests that he has on are interesting to me. I like the Skinny Confidential podcast, him and her. She does it with her husband, which is kind of funny to me. I like them.
I've never heard of them. Confidential.
The Skinny Confidential.
Cool.
Yeah.
What are they about?
Funny. They do a lot of like health and wellness.
Yeah.
And, they're based in LA, so you're definitely going to get that vibe. That's another thing. That's another reason I wanted to start the podcast, because I feel like everyone is like LA and everyone's a celebrity. Yeah. And I'm like, I just want to hear someone that's like me, So like, I'm sure you've gotten that feedback too, right? That people are like, I like listening to you because you're my buddy. Like, you're my friend. It's not like you're this celebrity that's all, I know everything. You just.
Oh yeah. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I want to learn. I think I have enough of an open mind and perspective to be able to listen and have a conversation about anything. Mm-hmm. But I will not, and I have a lot of opinions. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of opinions and a lot of input.
Yeah.
I think the people that enjoy me the most are the people that know me, for sure. Yeah. And but I only get feedback from my friends and family anyway.
Yeah.
I get random people here and there that reach out and show their love. I also get people that don't show their love, or they show their hate. Yeah, not a lot, not near enough as the love, but yeah, I get you. I heard you in a podcast talk about negative feedback.
Yeah.
Or like just rude people.
Sucks, man.
It's dumb.
But it is dumb. The thing here's the thing is, if it's a stranger, I don't care. I could give two shits. I really like
Even the strangers hurt me. They hurt my feelings.
But it was a friend.
Yeah, that's even worse.
And that sucked. But I'm trying to get over it. Well, I had a question for you. So, because you said you have opinions, you have a lot of opinions. When you first started podcasting, do you get like nervous to share your opinion and fear that like you might offend somebody?
Well, I wasn't initially.
Oh.
When I did my first podcast, I was like, I'm gonna just fucking say everything.
Yeah.
And after the very first episode, I was getting in trouble for like for being too open, basically.
Okay.
People, my family members and friends were concerned about the language that I was using, and I had to make a decision about. Well, I had to recommit to honesty and truth and with those people and with myself. I don't ever want to tell lies or spread things that aren't true. I also will always just say things from my perspective because I don't know all the truth and everything anyway. But yeah, ever since then, whenever I get back on and I think I try to follow my thoughts before I say them so I can say the things that I mean.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want to feel censored in real life or on a podcast.
Totally.
I love being able to express myself the way I want to express myself. I think I've always had that personality though. So no, I don't get too nervous. I'm confident enough, but I also have a certain level of arrogance that I just say what I want anyway.
Hey, that's a good combination. I mean, let's see what we can do with it.
Do you though?
Get nervous.
Yeah. Well, I know you're nervous today.
Yeah. Well, I'm nervous. Especially when I started because I just feel I see it all the time where people misconstrue what other people say, and I hate being misunderstood because I feel like for the most part, I'm known all the time. I feel like I come from a good place, but you can take what one person says and just like twist it into like something negative, anything, So I was nervous about that, I just don't want to be misunderstood.
Yeah. Being misunderstood, misinterpreted. Yeah. I think I come from a place with good intentions, but if you don't know me, you can listen to anything I say. And that's what I get. People who don't know me or people who knew me in the past when I was LDS and when I behaved a certain way. And now I'm way different. I'm a much different person now. And they say, that's not who you are. Or you're not true to yourself. And I'm more true to myself now than I ever have been.
That's so strange to me. 'Cause it's like, why would you not allow someone to evolve? Why would you not allow someone to change? Like
people change all the time.
Exactly. Can you imagine if you were the same person in high school?
Oh my God, I would be an idiot. I'm still an idiot, but I would be more of an idiot.
Weird to me. It's like you expect me to be the exact same person?
No.
I don't want to be this. I don't want to be the same person tomorrow. Like I want to continue to evolve. It's so strange to me.
Healthy people, in my opinion, healthy people come from a place where they accept what's happened, they are understanding what's happening now, and have plans for what they want to happen. Yeah. And all of that always involves being in a different mental place, physical state, and emotional state as well. And unless you were a perfect person, then you would want to be a perfect person forever, but that's never happened.
And what's even perfect? You know what I mean?
Perfect is relative.
Exactly.
Wow.
Because that's the thing. Kaide, is like I would listen to these podcasts. So I do this weird thing, okay? On podcasts that I love especially, I'll read their reviews and I'll read their negative reviews because I see them as like these amazing podcasters. I really value what they say and I think they're funny and they're smart and they say that, they're eloquent. And so then I'll read their negative reviews. There's always going to be negative reviews. Oprah has negative reviews. Yeah. Like how?
Yeah.
She's a perfect woman.
She's the closest thing to perfect we've had since Jesus.
Yeah, basically. And so I'm like, you know what? There's always going to be negative reviews and that's okay. Just got to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fascinating. It sucks to deal with the negative feedback, but I think that's what gives me even more fire to keep going in the first place.
And not only that, but like don't you feel like even just being a little bit more careful with what you say can go a long way? Like, that's important, you know? I always, like, I had an episode where I talked about how being a military spouse, I got this advice one time. This is what I shared, that I got this advice one time that when you have kids as a military spouse, a lot of times you can feel like a single mom. And it was, you could take that a million different ways. And single mamas out there might feel like, hell no, that's not being a single mom at all. Like, you still have the income from your significant other. And anyway, all points valid, of course. But it was an experience that I had all this information coming at me. And I'm like, okay, that's all so true. If I had gone even just like a little bit deeper in that topic and just kind of covered all of that, just to like be extremely clear with what I was saying, I wonder if I wouldn't have gotten that feedback. So I don't know. I take that and I'm like, I need to do better at just being willing to like go really deep into what I mean and come at it from all angles.
Yeah.
But even that, some people are going to get pissed.
People get pissed.
I know.
People like Oprah or Joe Rogan that have millions of listeners they'll never all be pleased by anything.
Totally. Yeah.
And I'm dealing with a very small fraction of what they're dealing with. For every million people, I get 10 people probably.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do think what you are doing with your intentions too is so awesome. And it's geared in the same, it's you and I are geared in the same way, I think, just with different audiences.
Totally.
Yours, so I'll let you explain some of the things that you have, some of the things you do on your podcast, the things that you talk about. I'm basically giving you a plug right now.
Hey,
to promote your podcast.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I talk about a lot of different things, which I don't know if it's good or bad, but I can't just talk about one thing, you know, and I'm sure you feel the same way.
Oh yeah.
Cause it's like, I have so many interests and, my interests change all the time. So especially in this last year, I was extremely interested in getting out of debt. And that was my main focus. And before that, a lot of my focus was fitness. So like I think my audience has similar interests as well. And that's why they like to listen. At least I think so. I hope so. A lot of listeners will say like, oh, you know, I started following you back when you were doing your fitness competitions and now you're doing this debt stuff. I love it. I need that as well. Mm-hmm. So I talk about fitness. I talk about, like budgeting and getting out of debt. And I talk about being a military spouse and, like relationships. I like talking about relationships a lot. I think it's really interesting. Just personalities, people in general, I think are really interesting.
Fascinating.
Yeah. But that's about it. Here's the thing. I do like talking about religion a lot. But I haven't figured out exactly how or if I would want to talk about it on my podcast. I don't know if anyone's interested in listening to it, but with like being raised Mormon and in Utah, I think there is something interesting there, or maybe I just think it's interesting. But I say that because like even when I lived in Washington, I was a cosmetologist there doing hair, makeup, nails, all that stuff. And so when people found out that I was raised in Utah, they'd be like, oh, were you Mormon? And I would be like, I used to be, yeah. And they'd be like, oh, you left the church? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, what did your family think about that? So seeing that some people were interested in that, it's a totally different dynamic compared to like if you talk about leaving the church in like Utah. It's totally different, which I thought was really interesting.
Do you want to talk about it?
I mean, sure.
Yeah, I think our family dynamic is interesting, especially with you and your siblings. Very mixed between strong, active LDS and very not strong, yep. Left the church,
yeah,
and not associated, and some angry, some not angry.
Yeah,
I think we have interest, but we all still get along as far as I know.
Totally.
As a nephew,
Yeah.
I guess I only know so much, but I wanted to give you an opportunity, if you wanted to share, because we did talk about a little bit about what you believe now with that book that you recommended, which I read.
Yeah, I heard you say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I want to talk about that too, but I want to give you a chance to explain yourself or what you believe now, why, how you got to where you're at now, if you want, if you're comfortable with that.
Totally. I love talking about this stuff because thankfully I don't feel like I'm in a really angry place anymore, but I used to be totally. Cause it's extreme. Like it's an extreme religion. And then to leave it, it's just a really, it's a significant shift in your lifestyle, which I'm sure you can agree with.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I would say I started really questioning the church like 20, 21, because I just never, like, I never really felt like accepted by the church ever, you know? And I'll keep this as brief as possible, but I never really felt accepted. And I always felt like I was never good enough. You know what
why?
I'm saying?
Do you know where that came from?
Well, I think a lot of it was, I was always going to the bishop's office all the time. And I always was like, I was never allowed to take the sacrament. I always felt like I was in trouble.
Yeah.
And
isolated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that sucked. Just feeling.
Especially as like a teenager, growing
up,
adolescent. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's even worse, I'd say.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like, not being allowed to take the sacrament. So a lot of my listeners aren't Mormons, so they don't understand it.
Right.
So I'll just explain really quick.
Yeah, do it.
So when maybe you've sinned and it's extreme enough, you have to go to the bishop and then he will let you know, if you're for repentance reasons, you aren't allowed to take the sacrament for a little while, right?
Which is the communion.
Yeah.
Which is
Would
the
you explain
Mormon
it like
communion. That? Yeah.
So, I was never allowed to take the sacrament, which is whatever. And I would always feel guilty, go to the bishop, can't take the sacrament. And that's fine and whatever. But it was when I would pass the sacrament and like people would turn and look to see.
Ashely didn't take the sacrament.
And it's that judgment that I'm still very sensitive to that I can't jive with. Like, and it would happen often. And as, like you said, like as a teenager, like that sucks. Mm-hmm. And anyway, I would just go through it. And that was like, seriously, from like 16 to like 20, I tried to do like the singles word stuff. I just never felt, I just always felt like an outsider for whatever reason. I don't know.
Well, you have a big personality and like to have fun.
Yeah.
And not saying that Mormons don't have big personalities and don't have fun, but there's a certain level of humility and reservation where you are there's. I always felt like there was expectation of like chill the fuck out sometimes, and I never partied hard, but I'd like to go to parties and hang out and I mean in high school I was never drinking or I never had sex or anything. But I even still was like, oh, I have the feeling I want to, but I'm not going to, but I still feel guilty even though I'm not.
Yeah.
As a teenager.
Yeah.
And that made me feel like less of a Mormon, less of a person among my peers.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's anything similar, but
totally.
It's very, very those emotions are real and very strong and unfortunate in the church, I think.
And there were like some significant some situations that came up surrounding like just extreme judgment with stuff that I was going through that, I don't have to get into it just because, it's personal and everybody has their story, right? Of why they left the church. You only share what you want. But it was so awful that I was like, this isn't right, And anyhow, when I was kind of just like opening my mind to possibly leaving the church, right? Michelle, my older sister, had already left the church. And growing up, I always believed that if you leave the church, you end up in jail and addicted to drugs. Like, that's just what's going to happen. There's no other option. It's just what you do.
You turn into a druggie.
Totally.
Yeah.
And you're on the corner on the streets in Salt Lake City begging for money.
Absolutely.
So anyhow, it was really interesting to me to watch her leave the church, and she was so happy. It was like this weight was lifted off of her shoulders. And granted, everyone is just so different. That might not be everybody's story, but you know, I know Michelle pretty well. I mean, better than anybody, I'd say. And just to see her thriving and just like, finally, like, I feel like I can be myself, you know? It was very interesting to me. I was like, so she's not in jail yet. Like, she's still, you know, and she marries this great guy and they're living their best life in Salt Lake City. So anyway,
how much older is Michelle than you?
She's 5.5 years.
So she was 28, 27 when she left, and you were 21 when this was happening. Yeah. And so anyway, it was just all of that kind of coming in at once that I was like, you know what? I think I need to take a step away from the church, because it was weird how I felt so much lighter when I was like, I can think for myself. Like, what if I, you know, live my life for, well, this sounds selfish, but that's what my mentality was at the time, is like, what if I decide to be a good person for me, you know, not for the church? What if I decide, you know, that I want to, whatever. There's so many rules and restrictions in the church. I just remember thinking like, okay, am I going to smoke? You know, am I going to drink? Am I going to have premarital sex? Like, I don't know if I don't have these like church rules and guidelines. But then it was so empowering to be like, yeah, I want to have a cocktail, or yeah, I want to drink coffee, you know, and just making those decisions for me and not being told what to do and just deciding for myself. And I'm not saying that you can't do that in the church. I'm sure there are people that are like, oh, I decide that for me. And that's great. But I always felt like I was following these rules and guidelines, and I just still always felt like crap. And I was like, it wasn't sincere.
I'm not reading my scriptures enough. I'm not, you know, I'm not saying my prayers the right way. It was so weird, Kate. I like going back to it, and like, it was just stressful. I'm like, I'm never going to get married in the temple. I can't make it a whole month without like not being able to take the sacrament, you know? I'm like, I suck. Yeah. But guess what? I didn't suck. Right. I'm actually a pretty cool person.
Pretty cool.
And like, so it's weird, that whole transition, like looking back on it, and like, I just needed, I don't know what I needed, but the church didn't make me feel awesome. And it was confusing because so many people, I mean, loved it. They just had these like super strong testimonies. There are certain parts that I did love about it. But not feeling accepted and not feeling worthy ever, that gets to you.
Oh yeah. It eats at you.
Yeah.
And then feeling like, oh, my friends have these testimonies, and my friends have this family and their relationships, and everything seems so fine. And why isn't my life that way? I mean, that comes from a place of a little bit of immaturity too, not being able to separate different experiences. But absolutely, me seeing some of my friends with super strong testimonies, healthy families, and thinking my life is I'm like living a lesser life because of my experiences, did not help me see. It didn't help me be a better person in the church. I felt it made me feel guilty, like it was my fault that my family life was not as easy as everyone else's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Not like it's my family's fault.
Yeah.
It's just how everything played out. And I don't have any problem with it now. Yeah. But I did it as a teenager because it correlated with my religious experiences. Anyway, that's my experience.
That's interesting though.
So when you were thinking about getting out, did you have other friends or did you have anybody else you leaned on to get out, or did you just stop going to church, or how did that work for you?
I mean, so at the time I was living at my mom's, Grandma Joan.
Nice.
So
Grandma Joan.
that, I mean, that was difficult. She didn't love that I was like coming home from beauty school with my nose pierced and then just not really going to church. I would work a lot on Sundays. So she kind of put things together and was like, okay, I think she's leaving. And it was difficult because, you know, she wanted me to keep going, marry some nice return missionary in the temple, the whole Mormon thing. But,
well, at this point, Michelle has left.
yeah.
My dad has left. Or was he not out yet?
No, I don't think your dad was like as out with it all just yet. I can't remember. I don't think so just yet. That would have been like 10 years ago, like 9 years ago.
Well, I know he says that he, and I think I can speak for him for a little bit, in vague ways. He hasn't believed in a long time.
Yeah.
But I guess when he officially was like, I'm done going to church was probably shortly before he got his divorce.
Yeah. We got to ask him. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely.
But you mostly had Michelle.
Right. Yeah. Mostly had Michelle. So I was like, you know what? This isn't working out for me anymore. It's just slowly stopped going and just
while you're living at home.
Yeah, but yeah. I was I was kicked out.
And then you were kicked out. Wow.
If you're not going to church at Joan's house, you get kicked out.
Well, that's a rule. That's a fair rule.
I mean, kind of, yeah.
That's too bad.
But thankfully, I mean, Michelle and Richard, sweethearts, took me in. So moved to Salt Lake.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know you lived with them.
Yeah, I lived with them right before I moved up to Washington, actually. I lived with them for like 2 years.
Wow. Yeah, in their house that they're in now? Or did they live somewhere?
No, their house before that. So when they had Theo, I was living with them.
There was a little period of time where I wasn't talking to any of the Kellys.
Well, and you may have... No, you wouldn't have been on your mission.
I was on my mission 14 to 16. So 5 years ago, I left.
Oh, 2014.
2014.
I'm like, what are you talking about? You were 14 years
14
old.
When I left on the mission.
Like, that's not right.
2014, I left.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
I don't know
anyway, but yeah, moving into Michelle and Richards, that was a really cool experience, and living in Salt Lake, because it's like I had never lived in Salt Lake before, and I didn't really experience that lifestyle of not being Mormon. So that was like a interesting transition. But I mean, it was good. It was really, really good for me. However, with the whole, like, right after leaving the church, unfortunately, like, I was really bitter, which I think is pretty common for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And, you know, with where I was working up there, a lot of people had just left. I was working at Red Robin.
Nice.
Up there.
The server, that's right.
Oh yeah. I worked at Red Robin forever, but a lot of my coworkers had also left the church, and they were also really bitter. And it's like when you get together with a bunch of bitter people, you just become more bitter. And it's like hateful. It's toxic.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that it was as bad as it was until I moved to Washington. And then it was totally just like, oh, you're Mormon? Cool. Or you used to be Mormon? Cool. Like, no one cares. You know what I mean?
You're like, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
This is a big deal.
Let me tell you my story and my, the toxic.
You don't get it.
Transition that I went through. But, yeah, it was really interesting to like experience just even that transition of like moving out of Utah, moving out of Salt Lake City to a place where, like, I mean, all of a sudden I was surrounded by like Catholics and Christians and non-denominational people. Like, everybody had their own beliefs, hippies, spiritual people. And it was all of a sudden just I became like a lot softer towards it all. Mm-hmm. It took some time, like years. But I mean, I still you know, took my name off the records and everything, which just felt right. Still feels really right. And I think it helps too that my husband, Bennett, like he wasn't raised Mormon. So he doesn't understand that bitterness. And like he gets it and he'll let me like talk through stuff if I'm like, oh my gosh, this just happened, whatever. But it helps that I don't know, he's so level-headed anyways that like it's not two like super bitter people just making us more bitter.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's healthy.
Yeah.
Well, where did the bitter feelings mostly stem from your experiences through school, like you were explaining?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Felt like you didn't belong, but kind of felt trapped. Did you ever feel trapped or stuck?
I never felt stuck. A lot of times I felt like, oh,
Who is that?
Someone's here.
Hello? Hey. Come on in. It's Ashely. Are you in this bedroom? Yeah, in the middle bedroom. Hi, we're doing a podcast. How's it going? This is my Aunt Ashley.
Hi.
That's okay.
Nice to meet you. Oh, yay.
She's got a podcast.
Can I just move your truck?
Absolutely.
My dad just brought a big trailer.
Yeah, my keys are probably out there somewhere.
I think I saw them. Okay, sweet.
Okay, you're okay. Enjoy. Cool. That's Aspen.
Cool.
She's moving in too.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, she's moving
This
in
is the
with
fun party house.
Fun party house.
Cool.
Sorry.
I love it.
Where were you at?
You
school.
asked me if I felt like stuck or anything.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I didn't feel stuck, but I just always felt so confused. Like, just what if? Like, what if I leave the church? Then what? You know, what's
Yeah.
going to happen? And
Because you have no idea.
yeah. And what's my family going to think? And am I going to be okay? What's going to happen when I stop paying my tithing? Am I ever going to make money again? Did you ever feel like that?
I didn't, but I know that's a real feeling.
Oh my heck. I was so diligent with paying my tithing.
Good.
And not good.
You contributed
I
to
need
their
my
100
own
billion.
I know. I want a refund.
Yes. You know, tithing
Can I
slips say there's no refunds.
It says it on there?
They added it some time ago.
Oh, that's
but
hilarious.
I think people were getting so upset. I want my refund. I want my money back from tithing.
Yeah, like when they leave the church.
Yeah, they're
Oh
like,
my
hey,
heck.
I don't believe this anymore, and you're lying. I want my money back. And then the church's like, we're not giving you your money back.
Yeah, no
And then
refunds.
they started writing, all donations are non-refundable.
I mean, it makes sense.
Well, it makes sense.
They know how to get their 100 billion. That's for sure. They know.
Figured that out. So dumb. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
funny.
Okay. So feelings, and then the bitter feelings just kind of faded over time.
Yeah, I think it was just, it was being able to like remove myself from all of that. Cause you know how it is when you're like sharing stories. I like to call it drama bonding, where
Trauma bonding is a real thing.
but it's like, so there's trauma with a T and then there's drama with a D.
Oh.
Either works. I don't know.
Oh, drama and trauma bonding.
Bonding. Because think about it, like you're with your group of friends and you're like, yeah, this happened with my stake president, and it's like a terrible story, you know, and it's all valid, and people in the church aren't perfect, blah blah blah. People have their stories and it's real and it sucks, but you like take that on and you're like, I can't believe that happened to you. Like, I'm so sorry. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it just kind of like builds and builds and builds, and you just get more like pissed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like, I did my fair share. I did 2 years of that, where that's a lot of what we talked about in Salt Lake. And I didn't notice it until like we'll come back to visit with B, and like, he's like, everyone's always just talking about the church, whether good, bad, or ugly. Like, it's always the conversation. And it's just not how it is back where we live. So it's interesting. And I think it was totally what I needed to like heal and just move on from it. Cause like, I don't want to feel bitter. I don't want to feel resentment. Like, that just sucks. And it holds you back. And it's like, hey, like, this experience happened and it sucked, but like, it made me who I am. So like, let's move on.
Yeah.
You know,
That'd be a good episode for you to do, is how to let go of bitter or angry feelings.
Yeah.
Because I don't have, well, I've talked to friends and family that have left the church who are bitter, who aren't bitter. And the ones that are bitter seem to feel betrayed to some extent.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
And which are all justified.
Mm-hmm.
I never felt betrayed. I never felt like when I left the church, it was my own conscious decision. And when I was in the church, it was my own decision. So I felt like I was in there doing what I believed. And as soon as that changed, I didn't feel stuck or trapped either. I just left. I got out.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of, well, I guess from what I am gathering, a lot of people that are angry or bitter, the root of it is feeling stuck in something they don't believe and trapped with no escape, no way to heal from that, and no one to talk to about it. Especially back in the day when there was no internet and there were no people online, there was no way to access information.
Can you imagine?
Oh,
like
my God.
just feeling so isolated, especially if you stay in Utah, it'd be so confusing.
It's so confusing. Yeah, people that are stuck in Utah that don't believe, but all of their friends, all of their family, their coworkers, yeah, would have sucked. So I'm fortunate enough to have grown up with a smartphone pretty much my whole life, and yeah, I've been able to listen to books, listen to podcasts, read articles that have truth and that have lies, and be able to discern and make my own judgments off of them.
That's a big deal. You know,
It is
not
a
a
big
lot
deal.
of people can do that.
Right, I'm fortunate enough. So,
Yeah.
but I think that would be a cool episode.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my suggestion.
That's kind of what I've been trying to focus on this last year, really, is just like forgiveness and like just giving like grace to people that, you know, they might not ask for forgiveness, or they might not even know that they hurt you in the way that they did, but you have to like just let it go, because they're never, you know, a lot of times people don't ask for forgiveness, but you're just gonna like be bitter the rest of your life?
Right.
That would suck.
That sucks.
I don't want to be that person.
Some people are bitter though, and they are content in their bitterness, but I don't think that's as healthy as being a loving and understanding and sympathetic human.
Yeah,
I would
man.
rather be that person to the people that I hate and to the lifestyles that I
Yeah.
disagree with than
Yeah.
to be bitter or angry.
Yeah,
personally.
same.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that story. And then we're at 57 minutes.
Whoa!
I know.
I've never podcasted this long.
I know. I've gone 3 times this length.
Dang.
So I'm still feeling good.
Yeah.
But I know B's coming to pick you up soon.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you before we ended up was now what do you believe? Now what do you do? How do you satisfy that need of spiritual awareness, or if you even have that?
So I'll try to explain it as eloquently as I can. Because
Beautiful.
it's like, you know what I mean? Sometimes
It's impossible.
It's a tough question to answer. But I've definitely gone through times where it's like I've been very religious, you know, as an LDS individual. And then I totally swung where I would say even atheist. I was like, no, like there's not a God. We die when we die. And that's that. You know, things just happen. It's not like I used to believe, you know, everything happens for a reason. And then I went to, no, like things just freaking happen. You know what I mean? And
that sounds awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that was me for a long time. And I would get like, I would judge people that would be like, oh, God wanted me to X, Y, and Z, or this is God's plan. And I always was just like, no, it just, you know, it just happens. There's not this like bigger thing or like, if someone was like going through a hard time, you know what I mean? And they're like having to believe in like a higher power to get them through whatever. For some reason, I used to judge that. And now I look at that and I'm just like, so what? If they need a higher power to get through, if they're grieving a loss of like a sister or something and they need that higher power belief to like get them through, so what? You know, who's that hurting? Nobody. So what? So kind of, I definitely feel like I'm in a way more open-minded place when it comes to spirituality. I definitely don't adhere to like any organized religion by any means. For me personally, don't think that that's my cup of tea, and I don't think that's my husband's cup of tea. thankfully he's a really open-minded person too. You know what I mean? Like that would be really hard to be in a relationship with someone who was like just so extreme, like has to go to any religion. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of religions are very extreme. So I'm grateful that he just kind of like lets me do my thing and he does his thing and it's fine.
Good.
But I would say I'm definitely more of a spiritual person now. I feel like we all have a purpose, and I feel like there are certain things that we are meant to learn in this lifetime. And I do think that I do think there's a spirit world. I think that we're meant to help each other. I think that there are certain people that are in our lives like for a reason, which I did, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of like, I think that's kind of like a Mormon belief, but I do believe that because I think about, there's just some stuff, like some people that have come into my life and I'm like, no, I know we were meant to like meet. And that it comes from more of just like a spiritual place. So you read that book and you probably thought it was a little wonky.
It's a little wonky.
It's totally wonky.
But yeah, well, I'll share what I think too. But I want to I want you to finish first.
Yeah. So, I read that book. It's Many Lives, Many Masters. Yeah. So interesting to me.
By some psychologist.
Yes. And my friend gave it to me, and she is a mental health professional as well. But we love that kind of stuff. Like I love learning about like, I love going to like spirit healers and, like Reiki sessions. I just think I love going to like psychics. Yeah. Some suck, obviously, but I've had some like really cool spiritual experiences that I'm like, I'm not going to discount that. Like that was real, man, you know?
Oh yeah. So, that's what, yeah. I'm sorry. Continue.
Oh, it's okay. So with those experiences, like, I mean, I think we have spirit guides. I think that I know my intuition is so strong. Like I know what, like even stuff with like me and my husband, like if I feel something, he knows it because he'll believe whatever I say because it's just been proven so many times. He's like, well, you are kind of psychic. So like, I'm just going to go. I'm like, I know this to be true, you know?
Cool. That's awesome.
It is really cool. And yeah, I try to like meditate and like pray every day. So, but then it's like, okay, well, who are you even praying to? I don't necessarily believe in like, I think that there is a higher power, and whether that's God, universe, Buddha, who the heck, I don't know. But I think there is a higher power. And I think there's something beautiful about that. And I will say really quick, when I was kind of going through my faith transition, and like I mentioned before, like it was hard to like listen to Dave Ramsey and like Rachel Hollis, like they always talk about like God this, God that. And I'm like, I don't know if I believe in God anymore. I started listening to this other podcaster, Lori Harder. She's this LA girl, whatever, but she would, anytime she would mention anything spiritual, she would always say like God, Buddha, higher power, universe, whatever you believe in. She would always say that, whatever you believe in. And it kind of like opened up this space of like, oh, like we all don't have to believe the same thing. We all don't have to believe like there's either a God or there's no God. It's like, why can't we explore that and see what feels right for us? You know what I mean? And if it changes, it changes. Like it doesn't have to be so concrete and set in stone. So that was really like freeing for me. And that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Awesome. That's beautiful. I relate to a lot of, to what you're saying, being in my faith transition at an earlier stage, only a couple years in, and, feeling the dramatic, I look at it like as like a pendulum or a swing, and I was super heavy religious. Everything was spiritual. Everything was about God and afterlife and premortal life. And then finally leaving that and coming way over to this other side where everything just happens. I feel really good about that right now. I don't know if that's going to change or not. I'm still willing to learn about everybody else's experiences. And I have some conflicting opinions within myself. I think I'll eventually be leveled out to find a middle ground, kind of where you're explaining now. I think one of the dangerous things about being caught up in a religion is being stuck on that one side and only experiencing the everything's spiritual and this is what you're supposed to believe and or whatever, I guess whatever it is, but being stuck on that side, being raised in a family with this, with no give on any adjustments. Personally, I think the healthiest kinds of lives are ones that are able to learn about everything and pull the truths out of everything that you're learning. The only tricky part is okay. So to speak directly to what you were saying about purpose and what's the phrase? I'm coming from a place where I don't think about anything spiritually right now. I used to all the time, but now I really try to, I just think with my noggin, which isn't the healthiest either. I think where, oh man, I'm having a really hard time expressing
okay.
this. Well, I guess what I want to end up saying is, regarding this book about the many lives, many masters, have you heard or studied anything about Scientology?
No.
Do you know anything about Scientology?
Nuh-uh.
Scientology is another super wacky religion.
Right.
And have you heard of Mormon Stories podcast?
Yes.
So he interviewed an ex-Scientologist who was all the way in Scientology.
Was it Tom Cruise?
No, but Tom, it wasn't Tom Cruise, but that would have been an awesome interview. This guy says that Tom Cruise is probably the most diehard Scientologist in the organization.
Is he the prophet?
He's he's probably like the second. Well, yeah, he's like second in command, basically.
Second in command.
Yeah, he's a big deal.
Oh, Tom.
This Mormon Stories interviewed an ex-Scientologist who explained a lot of the beliefs of Scientology. It was like a 14-hour interview.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What the heck?
I know. Like this, but split up into like 5 days.
Okay.
And anyway, he explained how Scientology's root is based on these living multiple lives. So that's the only thing that I could think about was this is Scientology.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
And all of the things that they were explaining about Scientology is very similar upbringing like Mormons with a single head of the organization that received all of the revelation and created the entire doctrine. And that was what was stuck in my head the whole time.
I can see that.
This is like Scientology, and it sounds wacky.
Yeah.
But I would never accuse a man of being a liar. I would never say that this guy that wrote this book is lying for whatever reason. So I struggle with if this is a real thing that happened to him, which is extraordinary, having direct revelation through hypnosis with a client is fascinating, and it's worth studying and learning more about. So
it was an extreme case. I would say.
It was bonkers for my logical brain. That's what I'm.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to say, oh wow, he's having this amazing, fascinating, supernatural, spiritual experience when I really am coming from a mindset where that doesn't really exist. We just have our own experiences and we make out of it whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it was tough for me to really get any more out of that than
I can see that.
So
I know it was extreme. And it was just one of those things that I had never read anything like that before, where he is this well-known psychologist, and in the beginning of the book, you can tell he was hesitant to even write it. But then, my mind is going to this possibly never happens, but maybe it happened to this one guy because they knew that he would write a book about it and just shed light on anyone else who wanted to read it or just even think about the possibility of other lives. I just thought it was kind of cool. So what I really got out of that book was, so I think that there are certain lessons that we learn in this lifetime. And I think that like a lot of times, and this, I've never even said this out loud before, but I think sometimes when people, you know, die young or even later in life, they pass away, it's because they did everything that they needed to do in this lifetime. And that, okay, 6 years ago, Ashely would be like rolling her eyes and being like, no, like this, they just freaking died.
Yeah.
Like it's not a big thing, you know?
Right.
But right now I'm kind of in this space of like I want to believe my life has a purpose, and I want to believe that like Bennett's life has a purpose. And how can we tap into really becoming our best selves, and how, you know, how can we make sure that we live up to that potential, you know? Because there have been other things that I've listened to. Do you know who? Okay, well, now I can't even remember his name, so I'll just forget that. But he has a podcast, Ed Milet. He's this total douchebag. It's like on his podcasting, it's like this jet and his like convertible car. I'm like, oh my God,
He's
get
a big
over
show
yourself.
off.
Oh yeah.
Get
but
over.
he did have this useful piece of information that he has this thing where he's like, imagine that you die and you come face to face with your creator, whoever, whatever it is, God, universe, higher power. And there's also someone standing next to him, and it's you, but it's the you that you were meant to be, like in this life. And how similar are you going to be to that person? And, you know, say you're having this conversation with God and your creator, whatever. They're like, this is who I needed you to be in this lifetime. You know, how close did you even try? Did you even work to become this person? Like, did you help others? Were you selfish? Were you arrogant? Were you, you know, only thinking about number one? Or did you really try to learn all that you can and be a curious person? And anyway, I just think that there's something kind of cool in that, because you know me, I'm always trying to be my best self, you know, trying bigger, better, faster, stronger, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And because what's the point if you're just going to be freaking just, you know, content with, no, not content isn't the right word, complacent. Yeah. And you're just like, I'm good. You know,
Yeah.
It's like, you have so much potential. Like, why don't you at least try, you know?
Or you come from a place where you have opportunity and not taking opportunity is so. I totally agree with all of that. I think at the end of the day, what I really believe is I want everybody around me to be healthy, happy, and pursue their dreams and take advantage of the life that they're given. Be good people, do good things, and right now I don't think anybody needs a religion to do that.
Right.
Some people need religion to do that, though.
Some people, yes.
I wish that weren't the case. Some people need religion, or they need coaches, or they need teams, or they need a family to be able to do that. And that, you know, that's however you've got to do that. I think at the end of the day, that's what really matters. If you're uplifting the people around you and contributing and not being complacent. So if that means you have to believe, if that means you don't believe in anything and that makes you a good person, then all right. Or if that means you believe in Mormons or Scientology or this doctor with the hypnosis revelation. I mean, whatever. I think at the end of the day, if it uplifts you and it helps bring greater good to society, to your family, to yourself, then I think that's what really matters.
Yeah, I do too. And also like thinking for yourself. I think that was one of the biggest issues I had with the Mormon church is like, it just seemed for so long I was such a sheep and just following whatever, you know, the bishop said or the stake president or the prophet in order to, you know, get to the celestial kingdom.
Yeah.
And I didn't ever feel like I was thinking for myself.
Right.
And I almost didn't feel like I was allowed to. And I'm sure there's people that would say, oh, you're allowed to think for yourself. Okay, well, I didn't feel that way.
It doesn't make you feel that way.
I felt like everything, I was just a follower,
Right.
a little sheep. And I've never felt more empowered and like now I feel like a good person, which is interesting because in the Mormon church, I felt like I was a bad person.
When all they preach is be a good person.
Yeah.
And you feel like a bad person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems a little backwards.
So, yeah.
But I feel the exact same way. I feel like I'm a much better person now outside of the church than I ever was inside. It's genuine. I'm like genuinely a good person now, or try to be.
And it's unfortunate because, there will be people that listen to this and they'll be like, no, you're not. Like
you're doing a lot of bad things.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Like I remember after I kind of stepped away from the church, there would be people that would be like, you just look different. And I'm like,
bitch, I feel different.
yeah. I'm like, it was just the weirdest thing. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean I look different? It just, there's still that judgment, but thankfully I don't feel that anymore. So
Yeah.
I think that it's okay to, evolve and change no matter what your high school friends say. And you've changed since high school. Yeah, no shit. I'm like a totally different person.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right.
So.
Yeah. And at the same time, there's the Mormons that are, oh, you've changed for the good. I have friends that are happy, friends and family that are happier for me with where I'm at outside of the church.
That's cool.
Although I know that the whole core of the church is everybody needs to be a Mormon to be saved, but that's every other religion too.
Totally.
So, I'm learning to get over that and to get over what other people believe about me rather than the relationship that we have. I think it's really important to separate those things.
Mm-hmm.
As a religious person, as an atheist person, being able to have quality relationships without saying, well, you're a good person, but you're not a Mormon, or you're a good person, but you are a Mormon.
Yeah.
It goes both ways.
It does go both ways.
Well, I'm sure your phone's on airplane mode, so Bennett might be trying to reach you.
My chauffeur.
Your chauffeur, your escort. 1 hour and 17 minutes into this. I'm really excited that we got to do this.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to. I'm gonna figure out how to send it to you so you can post it on.
Totally. Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know
excited.
if your listeners are probably gonna be pissed that your episode's longer than 20 minutes.
Okay, so I might split it into two because
fine.
I need one for Monday and Wednesday.
Okay.
And Wednesday's Christmas,
Yeah.
so it's like part
Cool.
2 coming at you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Cool.
Anything else you want to say or add to the conversation today?
Well, if you liked what I had to say, you can follow me at
Here's the plug.
Ashely Kelly Purdy on Instagram and Facebook. And
How do you spell Purdy?
Purdy.
No E?
No.
Okay.
So, and my podcast is the Purdy Girl Podcast.
Yes.
Connecting military spouses worldwide. But like I said, it's about a lot of things. So
Well, yeah, it's like I think we're doing the same thing, but with different audiences.
Yeah.
And trying to overall build support and friendship and community with with the people around us that like to listen to us.
Yeah.
And want to be better people themselves.
Yeah.
So, I will give you a plug as well. I'll share your link with my episodes so people can find you easy too.
Yep.
Okay, I think that's everything. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
I had a great time.
I know you have some more carpets to go clean, right?
I got some work to do, but I'll make it work. So, okay, 1 hour, 19 minutes and 8 seconds. And thanks.
Impressed.
Oh, I know you did a great job. I'm impressed. Thanks for tuning in.
Gracias.